Good night, ladies and gentlemen, CNFO members. This is our last session for this series on the CNFO Leadership Institute. So we want to take this time to thank you for your cooperation, participation, and congratulations to making it to Module 9. This is not the end of the trainings, but for the annual leadership training, this has come to an end tonight. We're going to have Mr. Junior Quashie from Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, facilitating. And so he's going to introduce himself, right? Junior, please go ahead.
Okay, good night, everyone. My name is Junior Quashie, the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Fisher Folk Association, which is tough, temporary for the while, and also the president of the All Tobago Fisher Folks from Tobago. So it is my pleasure to be here tonight to do my part. Thank you. Right.
Good night.
So Nadine, you are going to share the screen, please, and I'm going to continue. Okay. Good night again, everyone. Tonight we have.
Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. We have a very packed session tonight to go with, to deal with. First, we have meetings and various types. Planning for a successful meetings. Facilitating meeting and decision making of meetings. So what we are going to do tonight, we are going to discuss these 4 main points to get to where we want to go and see the best way going forward. Okay, Nadine, next slide. Good. Meetings. An assembly of people for a particular purpose, especially for formal decision and solution. When 2 or more people meet by chance and arrangement. Successful meetings are very important to function of FFO, as they represent great value towards realizing group objective. Some type of meetings. Status, update meetings, looking at goals and project. Progress, challenge, adaptation, and next step. Information sharing meetings. Sharing information with participants using presentation, lecture, and videos. Decision making involve proceed to arrive at decisions. Type of meeting. Problem solving meeting. Addressing and identifying problem. Create strategy to move forward. Innovation meeting. Working of new stuff. Thinking outside of the box. Team building meetings. Project expectation meeting, team building activity, organizing events. Next. Planning for a successful meeting again. Every meeting should have a pre-meeting plan proceed to include, and we go, decision on meeting types and meeting objective. Topic to be covered in order of priority agenda. Meeting place, date, time, and duration. List of persons invited to attend, their roles at these meetings. List of invitation guests, their roles and time and slot. Physical or virtual room setup. Sharing and recording material and equipment. Next slide. Meeting planning. Proceed should also consider polling. Participation should submit date and time of quorum. Sharing meeting and agenda priority to meeting. Proceed document to be discussed and the background material. Provide refreshment if required. Meeting participation required leadership, and we go as follow. Call to order, establish recording mode, proceed for meeting minutes. Establish rules for meeting, proceed, rules of order. Reviewing and agreeing on agenda, including adding new topic, if any, other business. Adopt, receive, and calculate agenda. Rule time. Meeting, look at previous minutes. Matters arising, required report. Secretary, treasurer, matters arising, and correspondence. Conjunct agenda, business in order of priority. Consider any other business. Encourage. Announcements of upcoming activity, etc. Reflect before closing. Closing include decision and any following up meetings. Next. Post meeting action. Share record of meeting with participants. Communicate with representative responsible parties regarding action that they are required from them and by when. Follow up on action to help address any issue in achieving these in a timely manner. Allocation of meeting based on everyone. Be timely and well prepared. Stay present. Participate mindfully. Be open-minded and allow everyone to participate. Be timely and stay on point. Deal with the issue, problem, and not people. Close decision, record, follow up, and share. First time slip could be overlooked. Repeat slip may require a reinstatement of the ground rule. Disrupt beyond acceptable, limited, may require a break in the meeting for an involved decision with the offender. Last resort is to ask the disruption participant to leave. Leadership, leaders making decision. Group is passive. Lead act, and it is not challenged. Leader act is not challenged. Decisions are made by subgroup, such as an executive. Subgroup act to make decision on the behalf of the entire group. Subgroup will have its own decision-making process. These decision-making proceed do not involve the entire group. Decision-making at meetings. Decisions are arrived at through concerns. Everyone is given opportunity to contribute. All issue addressed. Everyone have an equal power. Decisions are made for major voting. Decision required at least 51% of the vote. May create disruption in the minority. The decision may proceed involving everyone. And that comes to the end of the presentation for tonight. I thank you. Any questions? Can we all discuss it? Any comment? We are open for comment. I could start first, if I'm permitted to do so.
Well, you're in charge.
I like that word. Thank you very much. I like this one. When you say everybody have equal, to make certain points, right? Because sometimes in meetings, when we start doing meetings, they always look at the president, or the chairman, right? But I like this part, make me feel that when I get back to my members, I will tell them, come on, members, it's not me alone. All of we have to put the same head together and come up with proper decision for the benefit of all, not me. Which I does normally tell my members in my group. I do say I say we at all times. Because at the end of the day, it's a group and it's we who build the group, and we have to maintain it and make sure it works for the benefit of all. Then this other part here, we say right, subgroup act, making decisions on the behalf of the entire group. I love that part too also, right? Because sometimes you tell yourself that because I may be a president, what I say goes. I don't think that's the way. And I can say briefly, I read this paper over and over and over and over for the week. And in my brain, I'm thinking, a way forward, easier. Take it to the group and let us all sit down and read it likewise. So at the end of the day, everybody will be on the same page and we understand where we are going and where we want to be for the benefit of all. So at this moment, The floor is open for comments, ideas. I'm listening. Members?
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Just a comment. I think you very well made a valid point when you indicated that when you're having meetings, it's supposed to be seen at a group perspective, because the intention of having meetings for whatever nature would be to improve the standards of the organization
Yes.
or the team. So it's very important to value other person's perspective, to value their opinion, because through their opinion can we derive valuable information in other words to improve our operational effectiveness.
Yes.
And these things are highly important in order for us to move forward as an organization, as a people, as a group, as a team. So I just want to reiterate that point, so that we could all keep it in our minds that when we're having meetings, it's supposed to be group-centered, balanced in terms of everyone being given the opportunity to share the views, because that generates, greater, or should I say more information, in a more result-oriented fashion. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Well said. Members, I'm listening.
It doesn't seem as if a lot of the well-experienced meeting facilitators in this group are willing to share tonight. I wonder what's the problem.
I don't know.
So if you would permit me to also add, you spoke about agenda and the importance of having an agenda in a meeting. What the agenda does is provide a meeting with a structure so that it can be followed. The meeting could be followed up in a sequential manner. So it provides the audience with a sense of structure, and the leader of the meeting is supposed to ensure that that structure is followed. In other words, to meet the objective of the meeting, because the agenda is an outline of the objectives of the meeting. Because these are things that elements of the agenda are the things that we are seeking to achieve from the meeting, needs and perspectives that we are expected to meet in order to improve overall effectiveness, so to speak. So I just want to, outline that as well.
Point taken. If I may say one more point, sometimes we have a meeting and one person trying to behave, not the way the meeting's supposed to be a meeting. And this point here is very interested for us to all remember. If someone do something or saying something to disrupt the meeting, let us bear in mind that this part here, we must take a break from the meeting and involve decision with the offender. Because sometimes, you know, a person says something not purposely, but they do it. And they come across wrong to somebody. And instead of cross-wording or back and front answer, it's best as the leader, we all take this action, and as we just say, pull the person aside, ask for a break and pull the person aside and discuss it and resolve it for everybody benefit. That part I will just say about that part.
I think it is important when if we are going to be having a meeting, especially in the organization, it is critical that you get the stakeholders together. For you to have an effective meeting, you need all hands on board. You need everybody to be participating and to be there at the table when the decisions are being made. Because what will happen if persons are a part of the decision-making process, then you will find that you will have a better organization going, because persons would be the ones who make the rules. They would be the one who participated in the development of the organization. And so going forward, if a decision is made, then persons will not be resistant to the decision that was being made because they were a part of the decision. They heard what was going to be happening and everybody agreed to it. And so if everybody have a shared interest in what is going on, then you will have more cohesiveness and more persons participating for the betterment of the organization. And so a meeting is where the decisions are made. And so it is important that when you call a meeting, it is important to let persons know how important the meeting is and how important their input is in the meeting for them to participate for the betterment of the organization, because what you'll be doing there is making decisions that are critical to the organization that you are a part of.
Point taken.
Yes, Paulette. That is so very true. However, in the absence of persons, providing that persons are absent, the next meeting scheduled, remember, we also spoke about, the presenter also indicated minutes of the previous meeting.
Yes.
This is one of the things that, you know, we could utilize the minutes of the previous meeting to address in the providing that persons who are absent from the previous meeting, they would have an insight, a perspective as to what took place within that meeting, so that they would share their opinions, because some of the things that would be discussed from the meetings of the minutes of the previous meetings would be voted on, and persons, like I said, would be given the chance to also voice their opinions. So yes, it is very important for persons to attend meetings, and yes, it's very important for meetings to have a structure, a scheduled structure, and it's also important for meetings to have minutes of the previous meetings in order to address or to enlighten other persons who are not present in the previous meeting, to give them a heads up as to what actually took place, so that they could also, you know, give their input. Yes.
Junior?
Yes, my brother.
We have a hand up, Mavis, so you can allow her to have the floor if you wish, sir.
I don't hear you.
So Mavis has a hand up. She would like to make an intervention. So perhaps you can give her the floor, because you're in charge, really. I'm just helping you.
Okay, Nathan could do that for me. Lady, you see this, she could do all this shot them for me.
Mavis is the lady who wants to speak.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mavis.
Yeah, good night.
Hey, good night.
The points that were raised are important for meeting, but in reality, especially when you deal with fisher folks, so sometimes you have a challenge of getting persons to attend to meeting. They are more interested in, you call a meeting, oh, I have my business, I have to go to see, or I have to do this, I have to do that, and they don't attend the meeting. And then when a decision is made that affects them, then they tend to start making criticisms after, or saying, you know, that why is such a decision made? that is going to affect me. But in reality, they're not making the time to attend the meetings. So it's okay, yes, to have, and this, I'm speaking from personal experience with fisher folks. You have the structure, you have the agenda, you have the minutes from the last meeting. You even advertise the meeting, or on air, different docs, everything. But when time comes now to have the meeting, I don't know if that's the culture in some other islands, but I know for certain in Antigua with fisher folks, you have a lot of challenge. Sometimes you have to wait as long as over hour to get a quorum. Sometimes you don't even get a quorum and you have to cancel the meeting or maybe just have a discussion. So I think what may be important is to try to find somewhere around where you can get the message across in the event where you can't have enough persons attending the meeting. Because at the end of the day, or even try to let them know maybe beforehand the impact that what is being said and done or decided upon have on their future, so that you'll get them to have that interest to come and attend meetings.
Okay. What we does here back home here in Tobago, we actually have an agenda. We also make sure that when we are setting up our meetings, we get in contact with the fisher folk and plan the best time which will suit them. Not all will be available, but at least the majority. And we always try our best, as I mentioned here, refreshment if required, right? Because sometimes our fisher folk, our fisher come from the sea, and he may come in late, and he have to rush home to eat something. So we try to prevent that. We have some refreshments sometimes. So when the fisher come to the meeting, he can grab a snack, grab a sandwich, grab something. We try to let everybody feel comfortable, right? So I don't know if that happens in other countries, but we try that here. Or at some time, what we're going to do, we're going to say, okay, let us have a get together. And in the meeting, getting together, everybody socialize and discuss and plan what is the best way forward, how can we reach, how soon. And with that, we get great support, because at the end of the day, it's not the president that make the decision, it's the fisher folk themselves who make the decision, what we are going to do, how we are going forward, what are we planning to do. So with that, we just do it here, and it has been very successful for us. So I don't know in other countries how it could work, or if it could work, but we all just actually give the benefit of the doubt most time to the fishers, because when a man fish whole day and he come and tired, we have to find some way of getting him to come back down the road or to stay for a meeting, and we try to keep it as close as possible to the fishing center or the fishing facility where it is as possible.
Junior, Adrian has his hand up, so you may wish to give him the floor.
Yes, my brother.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good night, brother Adrian.
Good evening. Yeah, some interesting points. I've been listening. Didn't need to add in too much, but just going back to not the lady's comments in terms of meetings. Yeah, what we have the same problems here in the Bahamas, where fishers don't really want to attend meetings, and so there are points when there was a period when we actually told them that that if they're representing a particular landing site, they would get a honorarium for attending the meeting. And of course, that caused us to run out of money. I mean, it's only so long you could keep up a program like that, especially when none of the fishers are contributing to the organization. So what happens is we had some adjustments in our bylaws. That your point to having an agenda and discussing agenda items. Yes, there are always meetings with agendas, and if items are put on the agenda and if the first meeting we don't have a quorum, second meeting we don't have a quorum, the third meeting we don't have on the third meeting, then the executive have the right to move any item forward, that they need to, because everything that's put on the agenda. Everything that's put on the agenda have to be, should be really be dealt with and discussed. So after 3 meetings, if an agenda item is not dealt with in the first 2 meetings, the third meeting, the executive could make a decision. So I don't know if that's something that others would probably want to consider. It's not a popular thing to do, but it's the one way to get things done, because there's nothing more useless than being in an organization that you can never get anything concluded, anything completed. So it's just an idea I want to throw to everyone, because again, it's not a popular thing, but it tends to work out for us. Because we have to get things done. All right, that's just my comment.
Okay.
Here in just to add to what Adrian just said, here in Jamaica, if we are dealing with fisher folks, and all across the Caribbean, the issues are the same. And so the best way of getting person to attend meetings here is that we have to keep the meeting on the beach. So because you keep it on the beach, that is where the vendors are selling. That's where the fishermen come in from sea. This is where they leave from, and this is where they come back to. So you'll find that it is difficult to get persons to set a meeting and say, all right, we're going to have a 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock meeting. You won't get anybody to attend. But what we have to do is to choose a time during the course of the day, preferably a time when most fishermen will be coming back from sea. So when they come to shore, they would just join the meeting right there underneath the arcade, along with the vendors and everybody together, and you have a productive meeting that way. So you are able to present the agenda items, what it is that you want to discuss, and get their input. But if you are to plan it for a venue outside of the fishing environment, you get little or no support. And I don't think it is unique only to fisher folks. I think it is any organization that you are in. When it comes to meeting, you have these challenges. For example, I'm just coming from church, and we have a scheduled meeting for 7 o'clock tonight, and we don't have a quorum, so we have to just abandon the meeting because persons knew about the meeting, but yet they did not show up for the meeting this evening because of whatever reasons they have. Because persons work, some persons come home from work late. And so balancing work with all the other activities can be stressful at times. Whereas if you have children that you have to come home and get them some meal to go back to go to them bed for tomorrow. So it's kind of challenging. And so, it's a lot of different factors is taken into consideration as it relates to that. So I say for the fisher folks, what we do, we just catch them where they are. We just keep the meeting right there on the beach, under the arcade. Because persons coming from seeing them see clothes, them just join the meeting anyway. But if they have to go home and get dressed, you're not gonna see them. So we have to catch them where they are.
Yeah, that sounds good, and but it's a little difficult for us here in the Bahamas because we have basically 4 landing sites, and not only do we have 4 landing sites, we have the way our fishers work is not everybody leave from the same place, and sometimes guys go out for 10, 13, sometimes 15 days. So it's difficult to plan meetings like that. So we have set meetings where we do quarterly meetings, and items are put on the agenda. And sadly, with a quarterly meeting, if you don't have a quorum, then that's 6 months and 9 months. When you don't have another meeting, that's just the way it is here. But what we find actually works sometimes too is for the dissemination of important information is to use WhatsApp and text message. But not everything could be concluded by WhatsApp and text messages. I mean, yes, you can take a poll on WhatsApp now. You can do a poll. Nadine does it often. on these sessions, but that may not fit into some people's agenda. So yeah, I mean, it's no situation is unique, and that's just the way it is. No situation is unique. I mean, sorry, no situation is unique. We all face some of the same challenges.
Yes, Adrian, you are correct with that point, because certain parts in Tobago, we also have the same challenge here. Some part may be easier to handle, but some of the other points, we have to reach officials on the beach, as you all does in certain parts. But certain parts, we all just gathered by the center or the fishing center, community center or the fishing center. But it have parts here where you have to reach officials on the beach at certain time. Between 4 and 5 in the afternoon, when the fishers come in, we go to them. Some parts is very easy to handle, but some parts is actually the same problem like you are getting there. But we use a lot of WhatsApp message. We have the groups, so we send messages, right? But it is a challenge some parts, and some parts is very easy.
Mavis wants to say something again.
Yep.
So Mavis.
Yeah, I think that listening to everyone, I realize that the situation is not unique to just Antigua, but one of the solutions that come to mind is that maybe we need to work with the younger fisher folks, because the older ones are set in their ways. So maybe if we try, we target the younger ones and get them to change the culture, get them to be interested in their future, letting them understand that the decisions that are being made is going to affect them down the road. Maybe that, it will help solve the problem going forward. Because trust me, it's very difficult to get the older folks to change their ways. You may get some to attend, but I think the major solution might be to target the younger fisher folks in the different groups, or representative from fisher folks of different groups, so that if everybody don't turn up and you have a representative from each group, they can actually go back to their members and says, exactly, this is what was discussed. What are your input? And then take it back, and then you can make a more informed decision.
Okay,
I agree with that 100%. One of the things I could see.
Sorry, can I just interject something? Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah,
just
go
quickly.
ahead.
While I remember. See, I hear the lady's point. That, but what I find is sometimes the difficulty with having a particular person go back and take the message, because if that person is not in favor of the message, they're not going to take it. The message is not going to be represented properly. And that could be a serious problem for an organization, where the messenger is not. I mean, we all have. Not everybody is going to be a team player in any organization. As a matter of fact, that's not the way it should be. Not everybody should people are not always going to be team players, but nothing could be more detrimental to the function and progress of an organization when you have people not being upfront with the message that the organization is trying to convey. I've had that here in this country too, where our council members are representatives because they didn't agree with a particular point, even though the body made the decision collectively, made a collective decision, because they didn't agree with it. When they spoke to the local population, they took a totally different message to give back to that.
Okay.
So we have to be guarded with things like that too,
So Paulette wanted to say something. Paulette?
Not necessarily wanted to say something. I was just agreeing with what Adrian said, because I tell you, I can attest to that. When fishermen carry a message, they know how to twist it to suit themselves. So when the message reaches them, just one person take the message and fabricate it and put it their way, and then indoctrinate and educate the whole entire populace, and everybody run with the negative. They don't get the positive because the message was not carried properly. And sometimes they are intentional. most of the time the fishers are intentional with how they disseminate information. They just want to make problem because they're fisher folks on a whole does not like they're not good with changes. So if you're coming with something different from what they're accustomed to, they're gonna be resistant. And just one person go out there and they change the whole entire dance. That is how fishers are. One person not in agreement and they go out there and they educate everybody towards that end. And they lose the essence of what you are really trying to achieve because they're very resistant to changes.
Okay. One of the things that we have a course here, my group from Tobago here, right? We have and we realized that a young trend of fisher folk between the age of 25 to 40 started fishing in Tobago, right? And we have a youth officer in the group. He is about 25, 28 years old. He have a good say with the youth, a good communication. So as a fisher, we use him as the youth PRO. So we have a PRO, or we call him youth PRO. So he meet the younger ones and deal with them. Because, sometimes, as you rightfully said, when a message go out and we start to twist and I don't like, and at the end, you know what you end up to, right? So we also have a lot of young ladies who are also in the group, who also have their fiancé or misters or boyfriend that fish. So we have a lot of youth involved, which is good because a lot of the older ones, like myself, are retirees or going to be retirees from fishing just now, right? But we use the youth to help us likewise. And I hope that you all could do the same thing too if you all have the amount of youth that we have. We have a lot.
Winsworth wants to make an intervention, Junior.
Yes, Winsworth.
Yeah, Winsworth, Junior is giving you the floor.
Hey, good night, good night. You hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Okay then. Good night, Mr. Junior, and as the facilitator. Very interesting topic for winding up the whole week of training, and I think this is one of the things that most fishing cooperatives are facing. The reality is that according to KJ on a presentation and the question I asked, the weakness and the strength of the organization and what persons are coming into the cooperative to get, because what we are seeing now is that not much around the region has been put into fishing cooperative from the governmental standpoint in terms of how the government helped develop fishing cooperative. And the other thing is that most of the fisher folks are asking, what is in it for me? Like what the lady saying that, what is in it for me in being in a cooperative? The only time when we have natural disaster, pandemic and anything is the fisher folks is the one has been left out. If anybody doing any survey, anything contributing to fishers, we don't get back feedback information. So what I find out is that is bringing a negative thinking and we the fisher folks in terms of attending meeting and afraid to put out our information out there because some of our information are using against us. So my thing is that the role in how to attract people to fishing cooperative is something I was calling for even in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is to see if we as fishers and fishing cooperative could lobby with our minister, so if we can get fishing in our school curriculum so that persons could know learn fishing from an early age, as my friend from Jamaica said that some old fishermen say if good come, they live with it. If bad come, they live with it. And we need to say what is in the cooperative. Fishing is not only going in a boat. We need to change the concept about how we approach fishing. And the other thing, we need to see how we can get other partners within fishing communities to be a part of these discussions. Because if we really leave it down to the fisherman, because then, as I often say, a fisherman have to sacrifice a lot. And most of the time, the fisherman sacrifice, all he get is sometimes a juice and a lunch. And then if a fisherman give up his whole day, there really not much that could get back to him. And this is why fisher folks are losing interest in terms of attending meeting, showing up to meeting, and then they're going to spread the negative, because what they've been looking for is not really what they expect. And then what we are seeing now is that not much help is coming to the fisher folks to assist the fisher folks in terms of whatever man-made climate change or whatever. So it come like the fisher folks just lose hope. And if the cooperative is not strong enough, and if the cooperative is not giving back dividends and rebate, I don't think you're gonna have much fisher folks attending meeting. That's just my intake from the discussion, but I have a little technical issue on my side. Back to you, Brother Junior.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution, my brother. Any more contributions, sisters and brothers? Mitch, your contribution?
Good evening.
Junior, if I start to talk, and I'm going to finish right now.
Okay.
Good
Somebody on
evening.
the guy. Yeah, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Yes, good afternoon.
It's afternoon.
Good
Okay.
evening.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm calling from St. Lucia.
Okay.
I manage a cooperative in St. Lucia. I am so sorry that I just joined tonight I guess tonight is the last night and I happen to be joining tonight. I'm so sorry about that. I've been busy and working late hours, but what I've heard so far is very, very good. I've learned a lot. And as you all indicated earlier, conducting quarterly meetings with the fishers is very, very, very important. But as we all know, the fishers, they have lost their interest. Many of them have lost their interest especially in St. Lucia. Many of our bona fide fishermen, they are deceased, they are dead. And then now it is so difficult to find persons to really join the fishing, to become members of the cooperative, because what the fishers are saying is that, somebody said it earlier, what is in there for us? It's like we have been trying our best to get insurance for the fishers, and the persons that we have approached, the insurance companies, they declining, because what they say that is just a short-term thing. They do not want to, they are not interested in partnering with us so that the fishers themselves can become insured. Another thing that is needed of our fishers is also for them to be paying NIC, nationally, to pay the NIC, so that when they retire, they have something, they can get a pension. So you find some of our fishers, although we have told them so many times that they can just go to NIC, I will ask them, I have had meeting with NIC and inform the fishers what is required of them. They can become a member of the NIC by just letting the people know that you're a self-employed person, and just bring like an amount of the catch, whatever it is that you're catching on a weekly basis, take a note of it, and then just take that across to NIC, and then just, pay your own little contribution on a monthly basis. But many fishers, they don't do that. When they get the money from the sea, they rather go to the rum shop, they rather go and play, gamble and stuff like that. So I find it is very difficult for our fishers, especially those that have retired. They have nothing to go back on. And I heard somebody mention having the meetings by the bay. I think I like that idea, that we only have 2 sites in St. Well, if the cooperative that I work with, we only have 2 sites. So what we have done in the past was to encourage our members to come to the meeting. So there are times that we do not even have a quorum. like somebody said, and we have to postpone the meeting to the second time. And in the third time, I believe then we don't need a quorum at some point to have the meeting. So what we've done in the past is that we have a register when members attend meeting. So what we would do is go through the register during fishermen's feast. Well, prior to that, and at fishermen's feast, we would acknowledge that fisher and tell them, you know, that so-and-so first person's attended how many meetings for the year. So as a result, that is, you know, we're giving that person a little token of appreciation for attending meetings. But another thing again, if our fishers, like somebody said again, I need to go back to what many things that have been said. Many persons, they do not like change. Even if you tell them the reason for the change, they have some very, very strong resistance to change. They are acquainted with their ways, their habits of operation, so they just want to remain like that. Even when we introduce new things, new fishing tackles to the fishers, they will not accept it because they are so accustomed to what they already had. So it is just the fishers and the culture, and then, you know, and as somebody said again, and I've said that in the past, it is about time that they introduce that the fishing industry to the school curriculum, you know, at the college, at the, you know, even at the primary secondary school. What we did one year, we had fishermen's feast, and what we wrote to the secondary schools and the A-level college in St. Lucia, and we asked that we invited some of the students to partake in a fishing competition. So we had our experienced fishers, they took them out to sea, and then they got prizes. The person that won the biggest fish, they got, I think, $500, the school or something like that. We had the t-shirts and everything. And then what happened again after that, they had to write a story based on their experience. And that went very, very, very well. So that is a way of, you know, already building the young people's interest in the fishing industry. But I know I've said a lot, but the fishers, they are feeling demotivated. They are feeling like, I don't know for the country, but I know for my country, they are feeling like people don't care about them. And when there's meeting, they will not want to, you know, accept the nomination because they are lacking self-confidence. You know, they are lacking that motivation. Motivation begins from within. So if and when they're going to have to get a quorum or to get persons to be on the board and a supervisory committee, you find many persons decline because, you know, they do not. So our fishers need to be educated. A lot of things. They need to be educated. The committee in charge of things need to educate our officials because they are lacking. Some of them don't even know the bylaws. You know, they don't. Somebody will come in and just take advantage of them, and they don't even know that. So it is just a lot that is needed where the officials are concerned. And I think I don't know how it's going to happen, but I hope that it does at some point.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
my point.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Is there anyone else? Wait a minute.
Hey, Mr. Quashie, I don't see anybody else with their hands up, so maybe we can end off this final module at this point.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
I will stop the recording.